Oftentimes, as we navigate through different phases of our lives, we encounter challenges that sometimes seem really daunting, and it becomes even more difficult and more daunting when there is no help or no resources available to make our navigation easier. The story of today's AfriBoss is really inspiring and one I'm excited to share with you because it's a story of how a first-time mom navigating through the challenges of becoming a first-time mom turned her challenges into a business that has become this incredible success story, impacting not just children but society in general. So welcome, guys. If you're coming back, thank you so much for coming back, and if you're coming by for the first time, you're welcome as well. I'm Virtue Grace, the African storyteller. I live in Lagos and I love to tell African stories, right? I guess you've not subscribed, so if you've not, kindly click subscribe, and when you do, tap on the bell and select all. That way you will always be the first to know when I post a new video or I do a live stream. Okay, now that you've settled in, let's meet the incredible, inspiring Miss Salami. On this segment called AfriBoss, I like to bring you inspiring stories about inspiring young women across Africa who are doing amazing things, right? Today I'm joined by, I'll let her introduce herself. Miss Salami, nice to meet you.
Okay, how do I introduce myself? Okay, my name is Mara Madibola Salami. I'm the founder of Mo Baby Care Nigeria, where we manufacture and distribute safe and effective body hair and hygiene solutions for African children under 10.
Wow. Right, so Miss Salami, when I came across your brand, I was really impressed. First of all, well done. You're doing a very good business, providing services to that demographic, because not many people venture into such businesses, especially for that demographic. So it's a good thing you are doing.
Thank
well
you.
done. That said, we want to know how it all started for you. How did it start?
Okay, first, thank you for the compliments. And I would say it started from being a mom myself.
Okay.
I had my child, and excited, you buy all the new baby things, and I didn't know what to look out for. I didn't know what cream to buy. I didn't know what soap to buy. I didn't bother to find out. I just bought the popular brands in the market. And somehow she had to stay back in the hospital for a longer period. But during that period, we're treating something else, and then her skin started to graft, and it was going on 2 weeks, 3 weeks. The midwives were worried, and we had to get like a dermatologist to look at her. But despite the fact that we had access to one of the top 4 hospitals in Nigeria, the dermatologist was not available for 6 months, and I was wondering, like, I'm going to keep looking at my child's skin deteriorate like this. Nobody could carry her except me, of course, when I need to breastfeed. And when you lift her up, you see some of her skin on the bed. Like, I can't. So I started to read about it. I didn't know the name to call it, so I didn't even know what to research. I just started checking, or any video with skin grafting or whatever. And somehow I stumbled upon synthetic oil, that when you use synthetic oil on children, it can happen. I'm like, I didn't buy synthetic oil now. I started to, and then one day, one of the midwives saw me oiling her body, and she was like, I think we should stop this oil. Let's just see if any improvement would happen. And that's it. We stopped it for like a week. It wasn't up to a week before we then got discharged for the diagnosis she was in the hospital for. I got home, everybody were like, oh, you should keep moisturizing. I was like, no, let's just stop it. And I saw that the skin started getting better. So I took the oil. It was then time for the appointment. Took the oil, they took it to the lab, tested it, and saw that it was pure petroleum. Like, how do you make products that's substandard for children, for anybody, and then think that you should do that for children? I took it to the store I bought it from. They were like, oh, they got it from supplier. People used to mix it, and I'm like, to tell you the fact, this is Goya oil, not that I bought any unbranded thing. So apparently somebody somewhere made a fake of it and put children and my daughter's life at risk, right? Because that's the oil they use to clean the baby.
Yes,
Some people put it in the baby's mouth, you know, for holy issue, beliefs, faith beliefs and all. I'm imagining that they actually put that oil in her mouth. What would have happened? For the external body to graft that much, what would have happened? So I continued my research. I started to use shea butter for her, black soap. My grandmother is from Kwara State. I'm also from Kwara State, of course. And then we have like herbal farms. They will send me all these red acalifa, lavender, tangerine plants and all that to Lagos. She will make it sometimes. Sometimes I'll make it myself. But then shortly after I had my son, and these things that worked for my daughter did not work for him. Oh. It was so bad. Like my daughter's situation was even good because at least I knew what was causing it. But with him, he had serious impetigo. Impetigo is what they call alefo in Yoruba. And normally they will say, oh, this is because the baby will be fat. If it's a sign that the baby will be fat. This boy was never fat. So I took my son to the dermatologist. They checked and they said that he had impetigo, atopic dermatitis and psoriasis. Like, how can one child have 3 skin issue combination? And this was so bad because he would even react to his own sweat. So we had to ensure that the house was always ventilated. And bear that my first child, had to stay in a room temperature space because she reacts to cold. Wow. So I was struggling, so like it was a lot, and they were just about 11 months apart. Is it even up to 11? Yeah, 11 months apart. So I was a fresh mom, trying to understand my body, trying to understand myself. I needed to take him to crash. They were not going to take him because of the old skin thing on his body, because the impetigo in itself is quite communicable, and I understood. So we continued that, and she recommended that whatever products we wanted to use for him had to be water-based. He cannot use any soap-based product. He cannot use any paraben-based product. So my sister would send products from the UK to me, and we continue. But sometimes shipping issue, it would delay, and those 2 weeks in between getting those products became a hassle. So I started to look at the ingredients on this particular brand, and I saw that all the ingredients, I mean every single thing, can be gotten from Africa. Maybe about 90% in Nigeria, and then the remaining 10% across Africa, like Ghana and all that. So I started to check YouTube. So shout out to YouTube.
YouTube has been saving lives.
Yeah, so I learned so much on YouTube. But this was just for my own kids. By the time I realized that I wanted to commercialize, which was when people started, you know, people who had seen his skin started asking me, what happened? What did you use? This one, so tell me that. You know, I can't put a name to what I used because I was using things I was making from my kitchen. So I started to tell them that, oh, I made it myself, or I put this together, or I'll tell them what to put together. Yeah. Some will go and do it. Some will be like, I don't have time. Just do it for me. Then the complaints started to come in that, oh, I put it on the table, it started to smell bad, or mold is growing on it, or this one. So it meant that they were either making too much. So for me, I'll just make what I need for the week. And I knew that I didn't have to put water in when I'm trying to use it because it was an emulsion. So I realized that this was the time for me to now commercialize, but also to get the thing right. So I went back to cosmetology school. I also learned baby skin science. I did a course on baby skin science because I wanted to truly understand why will something work for baby A and not work for baby B. And then that was when I realized that the chemistry, the biology, and the anatomy of our skin is so different. And even in one person, you can have different anatomy of their skin.
Like, I'm an example. My face is different from this, and
you see. So, and it's more common in children as they grow. It begins to normalize. So, this was all between 2016 and 2018, and I told myself that I'm only going to register my business if I'm able to get 50 customers. So I assumed that this would take me like a year, only for me to realize that by May of 2018, I had sold to almost 100 customers.
Wow.
So I reached out to my lawyer, registered the business. But again, shout out to YouTube. I started to check for existing Nigerian brands. What are the brand names they use? What is it? And at that time, you always have organics, natural, or something, or luxurious. And I was like, I'm not sure I'm a fan of all
All
these
those
names.
fancy
So I put it
names.
on social media. I put it on my stories. I was like, okay, this soap that you people like so much, this cream that you people like so much, we should put a name to it, right? And people started suggesting, oh, do more organics, do more natural, do this one, blah blah blah. Because the pet names for my kids were Mo's, right?
Okay.
So they called Mo girl, Mo boy, and oh, okay. So we eventually settled for Mo baby care, and somehow the name just stuck. I liked it.
I like it too.
Thank you.
I like
Once we registered, I started to, put a brand. What we look like now that you like is not what we started as.
I can imagine you faced a challenge as a first-time mom, and then somehow you were able to, figure out a way around it. But not all mothers are fortunate enough, and for you, when you saw that this was something positive, you took the next step to go actually study more about it, and make sure what you're doing is of quality and safe for children, so that other children don't have to go through what your own children went through. So I just want you to talk more on why that is really important, because recently there has been stories in the media of people selling products, especially skin products, that have turned out harmful to some people. So for you, you've done it differently. So I just want you to talk more on why that is really important, especially for brand owners.
Okay, apart from the fact that it's my personal value, and I'm a very religious person in terms of wanting to do things God way. So I remember how I would never, each time we work here at Mo Baby, one of the things that stays in my head is how I cried profusely for that 6 months needing help for my daughter because of something I bought. I don't think I forgave myself, because like I said, I was so naive. I didn't even check expiry dates. I didn't know that you have to be checking expiry date. You buy baby milk, you must check expiry dates. And I didn't do all of those things in all sincerity. I was just all about the glitz and glam of setting up a nursery, right? So I don't ever want a mother to come across my brand and they cry because of it, or their child is going through pain because of that thing. It's just not for me. And because I know that your self-knowledge is never ever enough, you have to be certified in it. And of course, because of the peculiarity of our demography, which is children, you have to be very very careful. A lot of other people who do that are doing it for the money. They're not doing it for the impact. So they hear that there's money in skincare business, and then they just go into it, learn on Google or YouTube or whatever platform, and they think that they're experts.
So it's important for people to pay attention to quality and value, and especially safety of the general public. Right now, so how has it been, like Mo Baby? How has the journey been like so far?
So we officially started and launched in 2019. Remember I said that it was 2018 I realized that I had sold to a lot of customers, but that was unbranded. By the end of 2018, we were sure what we wanted to do, the kind of products. We started with 5 products. So 2019 to date, it's been 4 years plus. It's been amazing. We've moved from my kitchen then to another kitchen, and then to where we are now.
What a journey it has been.
Yes, and our current facility has a 20,000 units per month facility where we can churn out 20,000 units of product per month. So we are looking to make that per day in the future.
It's possible.
Yeah,
it's possible. How many products do you have, and maybe what they are meant for, and maybe your staff
so we
strength
have
as
a total of 16 products. We have body products, we have hair products, and then we have hygiene products. That's our Snuggles, which is the laundry detergent. And then we have some products for mothers. So because along the line, I learned that a lot of children, like my son, who are very sensitive. So I don't wear perfume wherever he is, because he's actually very very sensitive to it. And I had to switch products to water-based products because of him, because the truth is, he will hug me, we'll snuggle together, we'll sleep together, and he would touch my clothes, and then you realize that you are using those products for him, but then he's still reacting. It's not the product, it's the other things he's been exposed to. So we created a safe line for mothers. It's called Moma Beauty Care. That is mostly water-based, and in that line we have 5 products. We have the body wash, the body oil, the body milk, which is like a lotion, the toner, and then the scrub. And our staff, we are 12 in number. We have 10 full staff and 2 virtual staffs that work, like they don't work within the space of the office.
Okay.
We are female centric, so 80% of our
You
staff
have a length
are women, and we encourage nurturing. So we cannot be a family brand and then you sort of like choose single people to work with you. You know, again, like I said, the brand is more emotional than economical. So you have to appeal to the emotions of the buyers, which are mostly parents and caregivers. How do you do that if the people who work for you have not experienced it before? So we ensure that in leadership positions, we have family people, either male or female.
That's interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, you know, being an entrepreneur is a very interesting journey, right? And
Yes.
oftentimes, some people venture into entrepreneurship without not having any form of training on entrepreneurship, just because maybe they had a problem in your own case, or maybe they have a passion for something. They just go into it and then learn along the way. I'm an example. Yeah. So, but for you, I want you to take us into your world as an entrepreneur. How has it been, like, you know, and especially being that you're also a mom. So, how has it been? How do you balance it?
There's no balance.
I can imagine.
There's no balance.
So, how has it been?
It's an integration. You just have to find what works on Monday might not work on Tuesday.
Absolutely.
So last week I had plans to do so many things. Like I had so many appointments last week, and guess what? I couldn't do anything because my kids were ill, and they needed me to be their mom, right? And that's just how the life is. You plan, and then something else happens. But one thing is the end goal. The end goal keeps me going. There are days that, and worst part is that I do not function very well during the day. I function a lot better at night, like from like 10 p.m. till like 5 a.m. My brain is on fire. So I make all of my strategic plans and decisions around that time. So it helps me to also be a mom during the day and then be an entrepreneur at night.
You see, but that again is a sacrifice, because while other people are sleeping at night, you are up strategizing and thinking, how do I move more, baby?
Yeah, to the next level. How do I ensure that the people who work with me are satisfied and are happy, because they are the backbone of everything I do. Because my work cannot function at night, basically. We have staffs, we have customers who have constant need during the day. So I have the help of other people who I work with and work for, because I used to say that I work for them, who help me put all of this structure in place and make it look like we're doing something amazing. It's not, it's more of my ideas, but the real work is done by the real people here.
It's about you sharing your vision with them,
and then they are the ones now running
with it. Interesting. Right. So another thing you might not have mentioned it, but I imagine that one of the things that entrepreneurs usually, you know, struggle with is funding, especially when they're just starting out. So for you, how were you able to, you know, fund Mo Baby from the beginning, and how have you continued to fund it up till now?
We've thrived on grants, a lot of grants. We've thrived on customers' trust. So I know that when I started in 2019 and I needed to buy my first mixer, it was a customer that bought it for me.
That's nice.
Like she was like, use it to give me products for the next 6 months or something. But I would never forget. And she's still one of my biggest customers till today. Shout out to Miss Shukra.
Miss Shukra.
You know, like, so, and this is when she had just one child, and now she has, I think, 4, and they are all more babies, and then our cousins, our sisters. It's a joy to bring out something, have a vision, and people are like, oh, I trust you. I don't think I just woke up and said I wanted to start Mo Baby. I had a business before that I ran for 9 years, so I feel like I've built trust, and I was able to transform those customers from that business into customers for Mo Baby Care. I would also say that because I'm a grant writer, so that's my side also. I write grants and applications for people. It's one of those skills that has enabled me to recognize where there is funding and then go for it.
Interesting. So you see, guys, here is a woman who wears many hats. She's a CEO. a mom, a grant writer, a businesswoman. So, talking about that, what's your educational background? We
Okay.
just want to have an idea of that.
Should I start from nursery school?
I can start from fresh, it's fine.
um, okay. I'm also very, very street smart, so that helps me. And that's one thing that the other part of entrepreneur
Shape.
doesn't like. If you are not street smart, people will cheat you. So I grew up in Orile. I was born and bred in Orile, Lagos. I grew up there, and then I moved to Ebute Metta, where I went to Gloryville International School.
Okay.
Then I moved to Lagos Island. So you can see that I was
You
growing in the
experienced
streets.
yeah.
And then I schooled in Ekpe. I went to a boarding house, which also sharpened these self-surveillance skills in me, like being, because that school, if you don't have mind,
And that's one thing.
you
with
most
boarding
likely not
schools.
come out alive.
Really
I'm
shape
serious. Like, and then I went to University of Ilorin, where I studied Bachelor of Science in Zoology.
Okay.
And majored in parasitology. So at the time, I was always a very, very angry person because I wanted to be a medical doctor. But thank God I majored in parasitology, and it has helped me in this business
What you're
now.
doing now.
Yeah.
And then the fact that you also did a course on cosmetology.
Yes, of course. So, but in business cosmetology, they don't teach you like the chemistry aspect as much.
Okay.
So you have to like probably hire a clinical scientist as a business. So as we grow, we intend to open more opportunities like in the clinical side of our business.
I know my viewers would want to know how is your production process like in terms of formulating your product and all of that. How much of scientific attention do you pay to it?
I think because of where I'm coming from and the plans we have for the future, it should be obvious that we are very keen on the processes. So our process starts from sourcing the raw materials and ensuring that at least even if we do not have organic farms per se in Nigeria, we have farms that are very meticulous in their processes, and ensuring that we stick to suppliers that we can know their source. Where do these raw materials come from? And then logistics process, getting in here, storage process. We're very keen about our storage process, and that's why we only buy as we need. We don't keep raw materials in stock for too long, such that you cannot then match purchase dates with production dates. So yeah.
Interesting. So, where do you source your products? Within Nigeria or outside Nigeria? You might not want to tell us like specific, but yes, where do you?
So about
source them?
80% of the raw materials are in fact, maybe 90% of the raw materials are sourced within Nigeria. Okay. Lagos State, Niger State, Kwara State. Some come from Jos, Oyo, and then maybe the remaining 10% come from like South Africa, Ghana.
Interesting. So your business is actually also impacting several countries across Africa,
Yes.
not just Nigeria. And also, it's also adding value to Nigeria because you are patronizing, local farmers and
Yes.
all of that. So that's a good thing, the value chain and all. It's really very good. That brings me to the next point. Oftentimes people say, "Oh, I don't have a job. I don't have anything to do. I look around. I don't even know." But the truth is, when you look around, there are opportunities, right? So, what would you say to people like that who feel like there's no job? And especially for young women.
But then everybody cannot be entrepreneurs, right? So I think that sometimes looking for a job, one thing I just recently learned in the last week is that sometimes you are looking for something because you're so particular about that one thing you're looking for, you're not seeing the other opportunities around you. So my advice would be, if they don't want to own their own business, because owning a business is not for the faint-hearted. People think that when you own your business, you've been liberated fully, but the truth is you then have the responsibility of ensuring that that business does not die, and then having to pay people and ensuring that they are safe at all times. If truly they don't want to run their own business, then they should seek further other opportunities around that are similar to things that they are interested in. It doesn't have to start from what you really want to do. For example, I want to be a digital marketing analyst, but I'm not able to get jobs around there. Can I start with writing content, or can I start with shooting content, or you can start like Grace, telling people's story,
Yeah.
and over time, you then begin to grow into your vision. And if it is for those who want to start business, there's so many businesses that you can start within Nigeria, depending on what are the needs of the people around you. Remember, again, I didn't think that I was going to get
into this
it's
particular business.
because people around me needed it, and I could tell that more children were being born every day, if not every hour. Right? So that's it. Yeah.
So that's basically like looking around. Even there are needs around that need to be met. For you as a successful entrepreneur, what are just 2 key lessons you would like to share with intending entrepreneurs, and especially female? Because for me, I'm always keen on women, because being an entrepreneur is tough. Being a Nigerian entrepreneur or an African entrepreneur is tough, but being a woman or a female entrepreneur is a whole different conversation. So let's learn from you.
Okay, number one is there's no perfection anywhere. If you try to get perfect, you're going to run mad. There's no perfection everywhere. And the second thing is to just let God lead. When He's ready, you'll be so overwhelmed with grace that you can't even deal with all the blessings that will be coming. Yeah. So those are my 2 advice.
Okay. I saw you you got a grant from Access Bank.
Okay.
Talk to us about that, because you also said you were a grant writer. Oftentimes, people, especially entrepreneurs or intending entrepreneurs, are held back for lack of funding and all of that. So just share with us a little bit about what the grant you received, and then how people can probably navigate around securing some fundings and all for their businesses.
If you want to navigate around securing for fun, come and pay me to consult. That's one. Okay. But even being a grant writer, I applied for Access Bank Women Entrepreneur Charter 4 times before I got in. So that was my 4th time.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was my 4th time. So it just shows that it doesn't mean because you are so good, you keep getting funding, and it doesn't mean because my business was not viable. It's also that part why I said that when God is ready, He would begin to look and see, what did I do? And that was my least attentive application. Like, I think I had even been selected. I didn't see the mail. They had to send a mail again to say that was the final day to accept or reject. Wow. And I was right here in the office with my staff. We're doing something. I just saw the mail. So for the process, it wasn't a really difficult process to get in. In fact, I've been getting a lot of DMs about people saying, how can I get in? The truth is, for applications like that, you can't really do too much, because the year I applied, we were 36,000 people. So what would I say I did differently? The point where you then begin to make emphasis is when you have been shortlisted. Okay. So it's from when we were shortlisted to 500, then to 1,000 and to 100, that I knew that, okay, I needed to be more intentional. I needed to win, and then worked my way through the 6 months program to win.
So it took 6 months to eventually emerge. Yeah. Interesting. So within the 6 months, were you undergoing like training?
Yeah. So we had a mini MBA with international finance corporations. Yeah. Okay. So we had, and it was every day, like Monday to Friday. You go to class, learn. So these are some of the things that have also sharpened my thinking as an entrepreneur and how to run my business successfully.
Interesting. So it wasn't just monetary aspects, but the knowledge.
So even if you didn't win the money, I think about 10 of us won cash prizes. The other 90 people cannot say that they didn't win anything, because you also got amazing knowledge from amazing facilitators, global facilitators. Yeah.
And network.
Yeah, and the network.
Interesting. So you talk about not giving up. So if you had given up at the 3rd time you applied,
yeah, imagine like
at the 4th time.
And probably that was my only luck.
So stay at it, don't give up, and just keep going, keep pushing, and you never know when it eventually, would pay off for you. And I'm sure you've learned a thing or two from her story, and you find this very inspiring to also get up from that couch and go begin to pursue your vision. I mean, look around. You said, even the product that was sent to you by your sister from the US, right, the
UK.
product from the UK. The products were sourced,
Yeah,
the
so
ingredients were sourced
yeah, I
here in
even watched
Africa.
their documentary like 2 years ago when they came to Africa to shoot a documentary. They have a farm here and all that. So we have all the resources here. It's just about making it into something.
You want to jackpot, say there are no opportunities, no resources here. Actually know that they are coming here, taking some of these resources, going
And
and then
refining it.
refining and sending it back. So you can actually look around and do something. Thank you very much,
Thank
Miss
you,
Salami, for
Grace.
sharing your story with us, and we appreciate your time.
Thank-
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the inspiring story of Miss Salami. I'm sure you've learned a thing or two from her story today, and you are inspired to also take steps to pursue that dream or to turn that seeming challenge into something impactful, not just to yourself but to society in general. Get up and pursue it now, and I wish you all the best. What stood out for you guys? Drop a comment. I'd like to know. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you've not subscribed, remember to subscribe and give the video a thumb up, okay? And definitely share the video, okay? Share it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, stay safe, healthy, below abiding. I'm Virtue Grace, the African storyteller. Bye. Mwah.